It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margee McGee.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet once a week at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I'm Margee McGee, and with me, as always,
Hello, everyone. I am Ramona Ramirez.
and we are back with another week of Orange County. We were just talking about how Orange County really has its own look and vibe. Every man on this episode was that same strange, shiny brown with red undertoned, leathery Orange County look. We'll get there. But Gina's real estate mentor was like a manifestation of my nightmares. It was really quite something.
I mean, with all the Halloween stuff, like all the clues that they were filming this during Halloween season, yeah, he had a little bit of a pumpkin vibe going on. I'm sorry.
100%. No, and he had like spiky hair that looked like it was done for a costume. And
It
like,
was,
oof. He
yeah,
was, and the way they only like flashed back to them, so there was some sort of filter over them that
yeah,
made it look even worse.
even creepier. Yeah,
And that
yeah,
couple, anyways,
yeah,
real estate people are really, they're quite something.
they
Anyways,
are.
we'll get there.
So we are back at lunch. Last week we wrapped up with Vicky rejoining everyone. So they're back. The three of them are back together, and they are picking up with Shannon talking to production about how panicked she is that Heather was talking shit about her relationship with John to multiple people. And I did a rewatch earlier today with the never before scenes, and just what struck me was Shannon's sheer terror and panic. And it was all about John's reaction, what he's going to do. And it just reminded me so much of, when I was a kid, what was my dad's reaction going to be to something? And her terror and panic was palpable. And it really felt like it was to Shannon, like some life or death stakes. And it was scary. It was real. Yeah, it was creepy. It was creepy to watch that, to watch it
Yes.
come out in real time. Yeah.
To go with the Halloween vibe, it was creepy. And I recognized that total panic of like codependency of like, if this gets out, my relationship is over and I only exist in terms of my partner. If I don't have John, then I'm a ghost. So yeah, her total dependency on that connection. And then seeing him later in the episode, I'm like, this guy is so fucking boring and low key mean. And like, he brings nothing. They toast at the end to John Jansen. And I was like, no,
I know.
I hate John Jansen. He's so boring.
I wonder if they have this, this kind of relationship that's based on cocktails, or that's what kind of gets them to transcend whatever awkwardness they feel without alcohol. And then once they make it to dinner and they both have their respective drink, is that when they're like, okay, now we can relax. And it's like, that's not good. That's not good.
No, and it's progressive. I've been in a
Yes.
relationship where like that, where sober, we couldn't stand each other.
Mhm.
Then we'd have like a whiskey and we'd be like, all right. And then after a few years, it was like, well, now we have to do cocaine to stand each other's company. So it just gets like deeper and darker. But like any addiction, a relationship addiction or a substance addiction, it's insidious. It happens slowly. And then
Completely.
all of a sudden it's like, yeah, because there was so much drinking in this episode, and then previewing
so much
what's coming up with people just getting like power shots of booze in their face. I was just like, they're so old to be drinking like this. It's not cute and fun and spring breaky. It's like, it makes me sad and uncomfortable because like you said, it doesn't feel like they could hang out without the booze.
Exactly. And that is exactly what, Vicky coming back and she's obviously trying to trademark Whoop It Up, you know,
Oh
Tres
God.
Amigas. Her little like weird like laughing tick that she's introduced, that little like "Huh?" at the end of everything that she says that she thinks is hilarious or shocking. Um, it just reminds me of that, Mean Girls meme, like stop trying to make Vicky happen. Stop
Mm-hmm.
trying to make Whoop It Up happen. And their whole dynamic, the three of them, it feels like it's very much alcohol based as well. And I
They've
love my
branded it as
mhm.
such. They're
Yeah.
touring based on the fact that they're
Yeah.
3 drunk old
Oh my
ladies.
god. Oh my
Ew.
god.
I wrote,
Yeah.
"That's enough of Vicky." Like,
Yeah.
it was cute last week to see her, and within 8 seconds of her being back on screen, I was like, "I'm done. I've hit my threshold of Vicky Gunvalson."
And then later on Watch What Happens Live, she's all, Andy introduces her as the OG of the OC. And I'm like, well, that's going to make shit even worse. Like and listen, maybe if I were in her position and I started the franchise that launched the franchise, I would probably feel the same way too. But she doesn't deserve it. She's
No.
not a good person. She's gross. Yeah.
It's interesting. This whole episode, I kept thinking like everyone is performing. Tamara's performing. She's working really hard to get storylines going and drum up drama. And Heather is working with like her cameo this week, bringing Cuban on the show and like pitching her goddamn branded content. And I just keep in my head thinking like, this is one of those seasons where it's a slog. And what's coming is what I love about reality TV. Soon there will be a crisis or a criminal problem or like something real is going to happen that will make all of this be, really poignant in in,
Yes, you're
in some
right.
time. Because this was just like watching a bunch of bad actors do bad scene work.
Yeah,
I don't believe anyone.
yeah. The only people I believed in this entire episode, again, were the Simpsons. How am I to believe the Simpsons of everyone in this episode?
But
Like,
I only
when did this
believed
happen?
Emily. This episode, I was like, "Oh, fuck you, Shane, for like taking me on a ride
Oh.
last week."
Mhm.
I was all up Shane's ass last week, and this week immediately I was just done with him when he had his talking head when he was like, "I feel like I do a lot of parenting things well, better than my spouse." I was like, "Fuck you.
Oh,
You're
yeah, I
a
have a lot to say on
beast."
that. I
Okay,
have a
good.
lot to say
Well,
on that. Yes,
yeah. Well, we
yes,
can move
yes.
into the pumpkin patch unless there's anything else to say about these 3
I mean,
gross, tragic, drunk women.
the only thing that I had wanted that I noticed was, Heather's betrayal of Shannon, and obviously, I've done this before where I've trusted someone that I knew I shouldn't, and I did anyway, and it came back to bite me in the face. It's just that
Quick
now. Oh yes,
yeah.
please, please, yes,
I was just gonna say quick counterpoint. Tamara's the one who brought it up in front of the cameras. So
100.
yes, Heather was telling other people, but like that's sort of to be expected. The real confidence is like, don't say this on camera. And Tamara's the
Oh,
motherfucker who
you're
brought it
right.
up on camera. So
You're right.
Shannon will do anything to defend her gross, dumb relationship with John and her gross, dumb relationship with Tamara. And she's missing, those are the two people who she should have her sights on as like, these are suspicious
Oh
monsters in my
yeah.
circle.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Tamara puts the B in betrayal, for sure. Oh, fuck, she's so manipulative. This episode, she's just such a little web weaver. I don't like her. But I did not like the flashback of, I think it was the very first season. It might have been the first season that both Heather and Shannon were there, or at least I think it was Shannon's first season,
For
where
sure.
where they're flashing back to when Shannon, rightly so, goes to Heather's house and confronts her about talking shit about Shannon's very dysfunctional, extremely toxic marriage, where we learned more about that after the scene that I'm talking about. But it was just the gaslighting that Heather Dubrow has perfected. She will never, ever, ever, ever say sorry for anything, and it is so gross. I am not going to diagnose her as a narcissist or the other diagnosable condition where you never take responsibility for shit, but this bitch never takes responsibility for shit. It's just
Yeah.
so awful and terrible to watch.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then she wonders why she has no friends,
Yeah.
you know? It's like, well, you isolate yourself by being an impossible personality, like, you're
She,
just awful. Hate her.
she never says sorry. She brags. She claims her life is crazy because of things that most people would wish to have a problem. And I know that there can be an argument made for, well, we don't watch people that have quote unquote real problems. We watch these shows to see these lifestyles and see these, toxic personalities. I don't get that from every single one. I don't get it from Beverly Hills with everyone. Obviously, Garcelle, Sutton, Crystal. And here's what I did think about. And I'm sorry if I'm going on a tangent. Please cut me off if this is completely irrelevant. I was thinking last night, like, man, Heather has no grip on reality. And then I was thinking, okay, who does? And I thought about, Beverly Hills, Sutton, and because Sutton has a fuck ton of money and a fuck ton of connections, and her house is way more up my alley than Heather Dubrow's mall. And I was thinking, oh, well, Sutton seems to have an idea. And then I thought about the morning after Dorit's house got quote unquote broken into. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry. Sorry. I put that in air quotes because I feel like my jury is still out on that. I just don't, if I have to second guess your house fucking being broken into, that means you have given me a reason not to trust you.
mhm.
Okay. The morning after we learned Dorit's house has been broken into, Sutton goes to Kyle's house and said, oh, it's been crazy. I've got a bunch of cashmere stuck in customs. And so I thought about that last night. And I think the difference, a huge difference between Sutton and Heather is that Sutton shows us her insecurities. Sutton, for all of her money, I very much can relate to the parts of her that are insecure. She also apologizes. She also tries to learn. Sutton is filthy rich, and yes, she had cashmere stuck in customs, but she also has some humility.
Mhm.
And Heather does not have any humility. And so we can watch the lifestyle porn, we can watch all of that stuff, but when it doesn't have humility, I don't want them on my screen no matter what they have to show me, if that
Yeah,
makes
there's
sense.
no point of
Anyway,
entry for me, like,
no,
I don't their relationship seems like bullshit. They're yeah, I just, I'm no fan of Heather Dubrow, and it's like it's getting worse with every
it's getting
episode.
worse.
I root for her less and less to the point of almost, as I said, I can't wait for the scandal to break with this cast, and I'm kind of
Mm-hmm.
hoping it's her. And that's terrible.
Yeah,
I don't want to wish ill on anyone, but I'm just like, who are you? Stop cashing a check on my time if you're not going to give me anything. It's all this week was just an ad, and then again she and Terry just
oh,
like ignore the fact that they have two other kids at home, and we talk like there's only I just was like,
yeah,
this is so it's just absurd, and
yeah,
I hate it.
yeah,
Because just because you're rich doesn't mean I'm dumb. I
right,
know that you're doing an ad for Fireside. Don't
right.
tell me you're nervous about it. You bought your way onto your lifestyle show. You own the app. He said it on TV. I can't. We've
I
seen that you
know.
have other kids. Like your pied a terre, fuck you.
Oh,
That's
fuck
like a
all the way off.
multi-million dollar, like, fuck you.
Right.
Just,
Plus, like, no one
ugh.
uses fucking pied a terre on the goddamn West Coast, dude.
The
Like,
only people who use that language are the $1,000,000 listing realtors, period. And they're allowed to, it's in their
you're
vocabulary, but
right.
like,
You're right.
shut up, Heather Dubrow.
Mm-hmm.
Just say you're
Mm-hmm.
getting a penthouse in LA. Just
Mm-hmm.
say it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Don't pied a
Totally.
terre my ass.
Oh my
Fuck
God.
you.
She's so.
Ugh. Okay.
And trust me, when we get to that scene, when we talk about that scene later, we'll have more to say about that scene. So we leave the Shannon, Vicky, Tamara lunch, and we move towards the Simpsons going to a pumpkin patch. And at the beginning of this scene, when I watch this family walking into a pumpkin patch, Shane, Emily, and their 3 children, I thought, oh God, I don't give a fuck. And then literally as I'm saying fuck, the mirror just comes hurtling towards me. And this scene really, it very much was extremely relatable to me, and I stood corrected. The scene humbled me.
For the parenting
Yes,
purposes, for the
yes.
parenting conflict and
Mhm,
conflict
mhm,
resolution stuff. Yeah.
mhm. I wrote
Yeah.
down, "I don't give a fuck. I'm too tired to do this pumpkin patch bullshit." Then Emily starts talking about parenting style, and Josh and I looked at each other all, "Dope!" Like, immediately. This scene was very relatable.
Well, and it was a
Yeah.
pretty, like, flagrant exposure of, like, Emily saying, "Well, that's not true," and Shane going like, "Well, don't scare him." And it's like,
Oh,
like, everyone's right,
yeah.
everyone's wrong, and also
Yes.
those poor
Yes.
kids, and then the poor kid, that broke my heart when he was
I
like, "I'm
know.
okay," which
Yeah.
subtext is like, "Please don't fight, parents, it makes me feel
Yeah.
unsafe," and that made me feel so sad.
See, I took that to mean, like, I don't want people to think I'm scared because I don't wanna be I don't want anyone to know lest they think I don't have it together. Like, I sometimes I feel like I see it with my own son, and if I say something, even if I say it kindly, he'll deny that he's having a feeling like fear or anger or insecurity, It
Well,
just
it's more about what Shane did in that moment, which is saying, like, now he's this. So
right.
in front of the kid, you're telling
Yeah.
him how he feels. And
Yes.
like you're saying, maybe he doesn't have the vocabulary to know what Shane means with those words. He just
Mhm.
hears scared and he's like, no, I'm not screaming and pissing my pants. So that's not scared. So yeah, I don't know. But it's what you were saying. It's like the overt conflict in front of the kids is,
Mhm.
tricky, and they spent the rest of the episode navigating that, so
They did,
it's good to
and
watch.
it was really good to watch, and it's really hard because you're not, quote, unquote, "supposed to" talk about your child in front of your child when you're not engaging with your child, it's because it kind of looks like they're not there. They're not being acknowledged as a person, and that is a big trigger for me when children are not acknowledged as people. I don't mean children that act like fucking assholes because their parents don't know how to get their kids not to act like assholes or don't teach their children anything like boundaries. What I'm saying is that in a perfect situation, if parents are taking steps, however imperfectly, to parent their children in a respectful, kind, loving way that fosters trust, you would not be talking about your child in the third person. So that was,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it is sort of yeah, I see what you're saying. It's sort of like objectifying the kid, not in a
Yes.
sexual way, but just they're
Yes.
an
Yes.
object, so
Yes.
they just feel like I'm witnessing people discuss me as if
Exactly.
I'm not sitting
Exactly.
right here.
Right.
But it is to
Mm-hmm.
me, it's exactly again what our podcast is about. Emily and Shane are bringing their own damage to that moment.
Yep.
They're sadly not thinking about the kid. Emily is
Mm-hmm.
thinking about what she's needing to get out of this pumpkin patch visit,
Mm.
what her
My
expectations
God.
are of
My God.
herself and her own family. And, Shane and his own, I think Shane has a lot of insecurities, starting with being short, followed by failing the bar exam 100 times. So, like, he has to be right somehow. So
Yeah.
it felt like they were both sort of, little parts of them were being exposed that they didn't feel comfortable with. And
Big
unfortunately, the
time.
kids were collateral damage in that
Big
moment.
time. And in that scene, when Shane says, "All right, I'll let you handle it," it made like, I tensed up a little bit, like, a little bit of a reaction came up. Making parenting decisions and making parenting style decisions is extremely emotionally exhausting. So, I did not like Shane checking out of the emotional labor and mental load that it takes to make those decisions, because when you parent that way, it's It's not fast, it's constant, it's always evolving, it's not black and white, it's gray, and it's so it's just so exhausting. And when you're trying to navigate with your, with the other child's caregiver or your partner or your spouse, and you're not necessarily seeing eye to eye, but you know that you're right. It's like really, it's hard. And I've noticed even with my own husband and us raising our son, we both take our respective childhoods to it. We both know that we can project our unmet childhood needs onto our kid. We both
I'm an
have this.
aunt and I do
Yeah.
that. You know, I'm
Yeah.
not a parent
Mhm.
myself, but
Yep.
like I look at those kids and I'm constantly trying to like, pull them out of the way of the obstacles that caused me like pain and trouble. And that's,
Totally.
that's not fair.
It's
Who knows
not.
if they would react the same way to things that
Oh,
upset me? Like,
yeah. Yeah.
like they
Yeah,
get
I
to
see what
live
you're
their
saying.
own, yeah.
Yeah. But we do what we can, and this is, I think, what Emily wants to do, and I'm sure Shane wants to too, is they want to help the children feel safe and feel respected by Shane and Emily showing a united front in front of their kids. Because when you do, I can't imagine. Well, no, I do know what it's like. Obviously, I can't believe I was about to say, I don't know what it's like. Yeah, I do. When you see your parents arguing about you in front of you and they are not seeing it the same way, you're like, what do I do? Who do I trust? And I'm not saying that the Simpson kids were feeling these things like down to their feet. They might have just been like, okay, I don't really know. But my own husband gives too much grace. I am impatient. So Shane says, yeah, Emily's too impatient. I have more patience and I probably give more grace. Now, I that dynamic has played out in my relationship with Josh and how we parent Leo. And we talked about this last night. You know, I think Josh is so concerned with having his little boy that he just cherishes and worships and adores feel feel the love, but sometimes it can look like overindulgence to me, or giving Leo too much agency when he is 7, and he's not supposed to have full agency right now. We are supposed to keep him safe. Kids want boundaries, even if they think they don't, and that's our job, is to help them feel safe. And so I could relate to Shane's in the moment or confessional, like,
Not
but
the part where he said, "I do things better, I hope,"
oh,
because that's the
no.
part where I was like, "You know
Hopefully
what?
I
You fucking asshole, like, if
yeah,
you think you're doing things better, then you're not in a partnership."
no. I think he was joking. I do think he was being
Ew,
cheeky.
I
So,
guess, but that I mean, we'll get to that later when
okay.
she and Emily insist that he's hilarious. I'm like, "He's
Oh, yeah.
not."
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's not I don't know. It's that thing of, like, there's always some truth to an
To
individual's
joking.
comedy, and I don't know. I don't know, but I just thought, he just treats Emily shitty. He didn't the last episode, but this episode again, when Emily she goes, "You're making me cry," and he goes, "I'm not making you cry. It's the heat. I'm just joking." And it's like,
Yeah.
you know what, you fucking asshole, just say I'm sorry or say like just don't and then calling her a scarecrow and so the
Oh
kids
my
laugh
god.
at
I
her.
know, I
It's
know.
so I mean, maybe it's just because again, it's reminiscent of my own father who just all he did was like abuse and then make fun of my mom. And it's so
Yeah.
confusing as a kid because you're like, and you hear the kids going like, he's just joking, mom.
Oh
And it's like,
god.
oh my
Oh my
God, this is
god.
so fucked up that these
Yeah.
kids are
It was fucked
trying to
up.
make sense of this dynamic. And
I
it's
can
like you
see
were
that.
saying before, like, I don't think any kid just coasts through a moment where their parents are fighting when it has something to do with them. Because I think when you're little, the only file you have open for stuff like that is what's wrong with me. If
Yeah.
I was a better kid, they wouldn't be fighting.
Yep, yep,
And
yep.
they don't know to think any other way. And I don't believe those kids are in therapy yet. So they don't have someone helping them with that.
Yep, yep.
So,
Oh my god, that's so true. It must be my
yeah.
fault. It must be my fault
Yeah.
that they're having this conflict.
Yeah,
Um,
because I'm at the center of it. So obviously I did something wrong or I'm bad or I'll never be scared again or appear
oh,
scared or
Jesus,
talk about
Jesus.
movies or I mean, it just is so, yeah, it's loaded.
I
Anyways, I
mean,
hate Shane.
talking about therapy and mental health, like this Emily, when they go to take the family picture amidst the corn stalks in this pumpkin patch, and Emily is just gripping on tight to getting this perfect scenario. I completely do that. I talk about it in therapy every holiday season. I talk about it in therapy every time it's Leo's birthday. I talked about it with summer vacation. I did not have these idyllic Norman Rockwell-esque experiences as a child. And so when I grew up and I have Leo, and it started even before Leo. It's like when I was living by myself, I made Christmas a big deal and tried to make it perfect because I wanted to create that for my own inner child. And now that I have an actual child, it's even fucking worse. And it's like, if I don't create a magical Christmas, Hanukkah, birthday, summer vacation, first day of school, last day of school, losing a first tooth, getting a first haircut, like if I don't make these things monumental, and if he doesn't see the magic in these things that I see magic in, what must I have done wrong to make him not cherish this moment as much as me? Like taking my kid to Disneyland. I was like, I had it in my mind. I'm going to create this, we're going to bond over this because it was my happy place as a child. Like whenever a therapist now, or like my ketamine therapist, my ketamine doctor, if I'm having a bad trip for whatever reason, they're like, go somewhere where you're happy. I always take myself back to like 4-year-old Ramona at Disneyland.
Mm.
So I want to create that experience with Disneyland for my kid. And
But do you
he
know why
doesn't
Disneyland was
care.
that? But Disneyland was that to you because your house was chaos. Leo is in
Mm,
a stable home, so
oh my
Disneyland isn't
God.
idyllic to him. It's just like a fun amusement park.
Oh my
For you,
God.
it was like, oh, thank God, it's safe, it's clean, it's organized, there's lines, people are nice, and like that was a totally different. It was a different outlet for you.
Oh,
For
Margie,
Leo,
you just
it's.
blew my mind. I'm not kidding. I have chills right now. You're right.
I mean, it just to me, all everything you're saying, it just tells me that like Leo is all of the things Emily was saying. There is structure, there is safety, there is a sense of family. So he doesn't need Christmas and he doesn't need a first haircut celebration. It's just another day because he's like, cool. He's
You're
not
right.
scared. He's not afraid that he's not loved. He's not living for events. He's just like a
Oh my
kid
God.
really enjoying his day to day, which is fucking rad. Cause like we have our family, oh my God, the pictures we have of our family vacations, you would think that this family loved each other and got along great. And, I can't remember, I've told this story before, but we had a family portrait taken. My dad was late, showed up drunk, and
Oh.
sort of just like leaned in. And when he left, the photographer was like, he said to my mom in front of all of us, he was like, we can airbrush him out if you want. Cause like
Oh.
it was that. But meanwhile, my mom has that portrait with my dad in it hanging in her home to this day. And every time, and we all look gorgeous and so, I mean, maybe if you didn't know us, you would think like, lovely. But if you know me, you can see in my eyes the like, like, I just want to do this right, slash be invisible, slash have this be over, slash go to college so I never have to feel this way again. So, you know, the moments like we grew up hoping to create some like peaceful appearance out of moments, and a healthy kid with a stable household. Disneyland is a place where he can throw a tantrum because he's not desperate to like feel safe and have fun.
Wow. That really, I'll send you my check. How much do I owe you?
No, I'm just like, I can't imagine. Again, I'm not a parent, so I don't know what it must be like to be neck deep in it all day, every day. I don't think there's any way a parent who's engaged could have any perspective on what's going on. So I feel like that's what like my like childless gift is that like for all the people in my life who are close to me, who I love, who are doing an amazing job raising kids who like have feelings and opinions and interests and friends and stuff they talk about. Like that to me is such a massive victory, especially given the fact that like two of my dearest friends, you and my other friend Beth, both parents in both relationships were not given great examples of like how to do this shit.
Mhm.
And you're both raising like two of the most delightful human beings I
Oh,
have the
thank
pleasure of knowing.
you.
Yeah, and they're both 7 and they're both like I look forward to being around them because they're real. When they're shy because it's honest. They're not like, when we were kids, you don't have an option to be shy. You put
Nope.
on your Florence Eisman dress
Yep.
and you go look the adults in the eye and you say, "Good morning, Dominic. Thank you." That's what my dad used to make us say at
Oh,
school whenever I mean, just the whole thing was insane.
yeah. We had to walk in to a house on Christmas Eve, and I had to go hug and kiss all of these people that I did not know very well. And it was like, "You do this." It wasn't like, "Hey, why don't you go say?" He's like, "Go say hi to so and so right now." And you're like, and you do it. And they are speaking Spanish to you or telling you how big you're getting. And then when you get older and they're telling you how big you're getting, you're like, "Oh, great, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat," you know? And anyway, that's a whole, oh my God, that's a whole other thing. The
No.
the point
Yeah.
is, reality TV is a mirror.
It is, and, like, all of this shit that I'm saying about this episode that I hate about how performative it is, it's clearly a reflection of what I hated about the environment I grew up in. Like,
Mhm.
as kids, we had to answer the phone. We'd say, "Hello, McGee residence, Margaret speaking." Like, what the fuck is that?
Oh my God.
And meanwhile, behind the scenes, there's wild turkey dad throwing shit and yelling and losing his job. And like, and and everyone's like, "Oh, the McGee girls are so polite." It's like, no, we're
We're
terrified and
terrified.
programmed. That's
Yes.
it.
We're living in fucking North Korea. We are living in North Korea. We are living in dictatorships, and we are soldiers that have been trained, and there will be consequences if we literally step out of line. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah. And it felt like a victory when people would say the McGee girls are so polite. We would be like, "Oh, thank God. Tell our dad, tell our mom. We're
Yeah,
doing fine. We're
exactly.
doing it right."
Exactly.
It's like, ugh.
Exactly. Oh my God. And how many times I would hear, "Oh, you guys are so lucky that your dad is your dad." And my sister and I would like literally be like nudging each other under the table, or if we were holding hands, like we would tighten it, like, "Are you fucking crazy? Are you kidding
Ugh.
me?" Alcoholics are such good fucking actors until they're not.
And they're charismatic and wonderful, which is why, like, I fell in love with them
Yeah,
for, like, most of the relationships in my life, but
they can
I
be,
yeah,
yeah.
when we were kids, like, all of these it didn't I didn't piece it together until I was much older, but, like, at every social event, it would always be, like, the younger women, like, women in their 20s who would come up to us and be like, "Your dad is so funny." And my sister and I were like, okay."
Yeah.
And now I realize, like, oh, he was, like, hitting on them, and they were, like, into it, and yuck.
Oh
Anyways.
my God.
It's
God.
fine.
Oh
Thank
my
God
God.
therapy exists. Thank
Thank
God,
God therapy exists. Thank God Alateen and Al-Anon exist.
thank God the
Yeah.
only goal is for each generation to do a little bit better than the
Yep.
one before,
Yep.
and I feel like, and my dad and mom did better than they were given.
Yeah, I
My
have to
mom
say my dad did too. You're right. Yeah.
yeah, my mom was one of
And my mom. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
yeah, 6 women in her law school class, like,
That's
she still
incredible.
has some, like, wild 50s mentality about, like, having a husband and shit, but
Mhm.
she got an education at, like, the highest level and practiced law in New York City, like, what the that's fucking amazing.
It's huge.
So,
It
she
is.
did we're evolving slowly, but not
We
without,
are.
like, damage to be looked
We
at
are.
along the way.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a
Yes.
long ass tangent,
It
but
really
Emily and
was,
Shane.
but I mean, it was clearly it touched our both of our nerves. And so just goes to prove our point.
Yeah,
Then
and
we
then
and then we move to the opposite of fucking therapy and the opposite of mental health and poor Jen. But yes, so we move to getting acai bowls with Tamara and Jen.
Earth Bowl.
Earth Bowl.
Which is like it's such an Orange County shop. All the shops in this episode, like Earth Bowl and Olivia's Closet. and the shoreline or wherever. I was just like, ew, Orange County is so
It's
it's like it's worse than basic. It's like trying to like ornament basic, and it's awful.
yeah,
So Earth Bowl, and
exactly.
that
It's like
it just looks
elevated
like,
basic, luxury
yes,
basic.
luxury basic. That's exactly right.
Oh my
And
God.
that bowl just looks like a pile of shit with strawberries cut on top of it. Both of them, neither of them could get a spoonful in their mouth without like wincing and looking like they were gumming down dirt. It just, the, it, where my like Al-Anon issues were triggered in the prior scene, this one brought up all my like eating disorder issues. Where I was
Totally.
like, just have a small scoop of ice cream and enjoy it. Don't have a
Oh
big
my
bowl of
God.
shit with granola in it and be like, I'm healthy. You're
I know.
miserable.
It's so funny, Margee, because I was thinking, I was like, wow, Tamara's eating carbs. Oh my God. It was, yeah, totally eating disorder triggered in this scene. And like the acai wasn't even like, it was like not even a bit player, dude. It was supposed to be a prop. And you and
Ugh.
I are all, oh,
Oh, it
yeah,
took me
totally.
out immediately.
Yeah.
The second
Yeah.
they were served those bowls, I was like, I never need to go to Earth Bowl or hear about it ever again. Anyways, I don't even remember what happened in this scene. I just know that Tamara cried and I thought it
Here's
was
what happened.
bullshit.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Tamara tells Jen, this is Tamara's way of doing a quote unquote, I mean, hardcore air quotes apology. Tamara does not apologize. She rationalizes. She tells Jen that she's doing a lot of hard work and she's not. She barfed out her opinions on Jen's relationship when they were in Montana. And then she's coming back and she's trying to do damage control. She's giving all the bullshit reasons like, oh, Cut Fitness just closed down, yada yada. It doesn't fucking matter. It does not matter what you have going on in your life. They are never excuses to actively be a shithead. My reactions to someone might not be full of patience or grace, and I will obviously clean that up after. But I, after all the work I've done in therapy, I don't go out looking to stir up drama and manipulation like Tamara does and then say, oopsie, my gym was closing.
It's abuse. It's like hitting someone and then saying,
Totally.
I'm sorry, I'll never do it again. It's
Exactly.
like, and I if I believed her, I might have felt differently. But she just employed the closing of Cut Fitness as, like you said, a tool of manipulation.
Yeah.
She didn't say like I've lost my identity. 10 years of my life has been like flushed down the drain. Like
Yeah.
I don't know who the fuck I am anymore. My husband's home and I don't know. Like if there was any truth to it, I would have been interested. And like you said, it's not an excuse to behave badly. But, sometimes there are times in life when you're legitimately lost and overwhelmed and you make terrible choices.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
this was just like, it just felt like bullshit on bullshit on bullshit.
It
And
really
at
did.
least Jen was like, she seems to say that she will be careful moving forward in her friendship with Tamara. But then she
That
dives right back in. So
that when Jen was telling Tamara that she's like, you can throw as many napkins in my face or say as many things, but I always know you love me. I was all, girl, you are, I'm not going to say it's like Stockholm syndrome, but the fact that she's holding on to the potential of that friendship
like with
versus the
Ryan,
right,
it's
exactly,
the
versus
same
the reality,
dynamic.
it was so codependent and awful. And again, Tamara says, I just want to move forward. This needs to be on Tamara's epitaph. If she ever opens up a fucking Etsy shop or sells merch, it needs to say, I want to move forward. Asterisk, not really. I'm bullshitting. Because she never fucking, she wants to move forward because it means she doesn't have to clean up her mess.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch. Anyway, then we move to an even barf. Oh, do you have anything else to add about Acai
No,
Bowl
I do not.
2023? Okay.
No.
And then we have Heather meeting Mark Cuban and his business partner,
Che
Falon.
Diaz.
Yes. Oh, you really thought so?
I don't know. I think I was in such a mood when I saw this scene start. I was like, and I am furious that I'm going to have to sit through this. I enjoy Mark Cuban,
I do
and
too.
he was giving a
For a
lovely shark.
billionaire. Yeah.
You're right. He was giving a lovely Shark Tank performance. But if I want to
Mm-hmm.
watch that, I'll tune into Shark Tank, and I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
watch Heather Dubrow try to, I don't know, try to fucking butt kiss a billionaire. It just is so
Oh my
unpleasant.
God, I know. So Heather meets Mark Cuban and his business partner at a restaurant that is in Orange County Cannon. It's called Javier's. I feel for everyone that has to work at Javier's when Heather goes. And then Heather goes right in to, do you remember we had dinner together? And he's all, not really. Um,
And then she said, we paid. And I
oh
was
my
like,
God. It was
nobody
so,
cares. And the last person who cares is fucking Mark Cuban.
oh my
He
God.
doesn't care.
Oh my God. I mean,
You are so irrelevant to him, Heather Dubrow, that he remembers nothing of. He thought you were in Vegas. He didn't
mhm,
remember you paying. He doesn't know who you are.
he doesn't.
You gave him money to try out this platform, and here we are at Javier's.
And Terry, they went to the dinner because Terry and Heather invested in one of his projects,
That's
and he
right.
doesn't remember the dinner. Heather is so far up her own fucking ass and high on the smell of her own farts that it is I can't imagine what it's like to live in that level of cluelessness for even 5 minutes. Like, I can't imagine.
It's delusion. When she said, I've been thwarted from doing scripted TV. I'm like, no, you haven't. Nobody here cares or misses you or like and then she's like, well, the business is all about rejection. That's a mind fuck. It's like, well, then come here and audition and get rejected. Don't sit in Orange County. And she, in some scene, she's like, oh, Orange County, like the sun, the sand, the surf. That's all great. I'm like, you don't sun or sand or surf.
Hell
You are
no.
butt ass white. You are not active. You are just a fucking porcelain doll in a disgusting mall. And this whole scene, I was just like, stop talking to me like I don't have eyes and ears and a brain. Everything you're saying is nonsense. No one has thwarted you from your scripted career.
No
If
one.
you were great, you would be on TV.
Yep.
If you invested in the endurance effort that is a creative life, you would be on TV. There's a
Mhm.
room at the table if you stick around long enough.
Yep.
But you went to Orange County and you had your comfy life, and God fucking bless at this moment in time. What a gift. You don't have to pick it. You don't
And
live here.
and now, since she's going back post-COVID, you know what she's not even gonna have to drive around the fucking traffic of Los Angeles while you're on your executive assistant's lunch break and hope to God you can get there, do it, and get back in an hour. She can self-tape now, and she'll probably have someone set up a fucking perfect studio for her in her house or in her pied-à-terre or whatever, where someone will come in and set up professional lighting and fuck her. So
Yeah.
she said, okay, so Mark Cuban is launching an app called Fireside, and it's going to be a network where it's quote unquote interactive streaming. And Heather says that she's grateful that she's been asked to start a channel on this network because she will have fresh eyes on her. Bitch, you don't have spoiled eyes on you. You don't have rotten eyes. You don't have expired eyes on you.
Also, you've been
Ah,
on TV
my
for
God. Oh my
years.
God.
We
Oh
have
my
been
God.
watching you on this show for years. Also, I am a technology moron, but isn't every platform interactive? Isn't
Yes.
that what Instagram is? Isn't that what TikTok is? Isn't that what Live Anywhere is?
Mhm.
YouTube? I mean,
Mhm.
again, I'm an idiot, but I was just like, what is news about Fireside? It just sounds like any. And if you're hosting a lifestyle show, I'm going to watch Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg. I'm not going to watch Heather Dubrow with a stick up her
Oh
ass.
my God.
Talk to me
I
about
know.
like, I don't
I
know.
know.
What is her lifestyle anyway? I can't with her.
And
And
all
she kept interrupting. Oh, as I interrupt you.
no, you didn't. I no, you didn't interrupt me. It's okay. Go on. Finish your thought.
She kept interrupting Mark Cuban. And I was like, you are seated across from a billionaire. Do not finish his sentences. He was like, this business is like a rejection. It's sort of like when a stand-up fails, when a stand-up comic, and Mark Cuban actually had some lovely points where he was like, you have to expect to bomb. A stand-up comic is going to have jokes that, go to shit. So maybe Fireside is a project that's going to suck ass. And the goal is just to keep with being an entrepreneur if that's what you want to
Right.
do. But,
Right.
and then she was like, it has to succeed. I was like, no, it doesn't. Nobody cares. Least of all, Mark Cuban.
I mean, there are some billionaires that I would absolutely fucking cut off. I'm cutting the fuck off of Elon Musk. I'm cutting the fuck off of goddamn Jeff Bezos. I
Sure.
will cut those fucking bastards off. Mark Cuban, if we're talking about business, like if he was like, Ramona, Margee, let's sit down and talk about how to, amplify your podcast. I'd be like, Mr. Cuban, where should I book lunch? And you will be paying because you're a billionaire. But
I mean, and he's really, it's not even, to me, I appreciate Mark Cuban for things outside of him being a billionaire.
right.
Jeff Bezos, if I met him, I'd be like, can I get on your yacht? Mark Cuban, I'd be like, I want to talk to you. Cause again, I watch a lot of Shark Tank, or I did during the pandemic. And he's fucking smart as hell. And he
Mm-hmm.
is fast. And he has, that thing where he can spot a good product or a good idea, and he knows how to market it immediately, and he knows, like, I don't know, I just think he's a genius. And I annoyed that Heather Dubrow got an audience with him when she can't be bothered to listen, and all she does is tell lies about like Hollywood thwarting her acting
Thwarting. Oh my
career.
God,
Fuck
she's so
you.
stupid.
Shut
Um,
up.
and that's the thing. Like, Heather has no humility. And so when she's saying, Mark, I don't only want this, I need this, like her insecurities, whereas Sutton's are relatable and you can have some compassion for her in those moments, Heather doesn't ever come clean about her insecurities in a way that is honest or relatable. And so her expressing her insecurity just comes off as revolting. And
Yeah, it's just seems
yeah,
like bullshit, because I'm sure
yeah.
she is insecure about some things, but whatever she was trying to sell at that lunch, like, I don't believe you're insecure about. I think you can buy your way onto TV. That's an option,
And
you
that's
know?
exactly what she's doing with this Fakakta
Yeah,
network, is that she
100%.
gets to, like, curate all the shit, and then so she's paying to play, you
Mhm.
know? If Josh had a fucking network, yeah, he'd probably throw me a channel on it and be like, "I don't know, do what you wanna do. Don't
I mean, to
embarrass me."
me, I'm like, it's a legitimate way in.
Yeah.
If that's your way in, money, and you wanna do this, use it.
I mean, hello,
Buy
the
buy in.
Yamanskis, I mean,
Just but don't try to sell me on your creative life
yeah.
strife. You haven't struggled a minute in your life. Lucky you. So now buy your way into your old lady projects, and also please stop shitting on Taylor's movie that shoots in Oklahoma as you're sitting down with Mark Cuban, who cannot remember you, and talking about a platform that seems like it exists in multiples and has for decades. So
Yeah. I don't
I
even
don't
know if
know.
I've ever seen Fireside on Roku. Maybe it hasn't launched yet. I don't know, but
And I don't know, and I'm not gonna look into
I'm
it
not either.
because Heather, and even if there's other great shows on it, I'm so sorry for those people. Heather Dubrow has ruined it for you. I
I
don't care.
I wonder if I should, like, write a, like, it's all contact us at fireside.app or whatever and be like, please get rid of Heather Dubrow. She's terrible and she will bring your fucking network down. Just kidding.
I
Allegedly.
mean, it did seem like Mark Cuban had one foot out the door because his whole point was like, expect to fail in this pursuit.
Yeah. So
He
he,
seemed checked out.
and here's the deal, like, it worked. He probably, I don't know who set up this fucking dinner, but, like, we're talking about the Fireside app right now.
Truth.
So he's no dummy when it comes to business.
No,
Um,
he's very smart.
and and then our next scene, I don't even know if you want to talk about it. We moved to a scene where Gina and Jen moved to another Orange County boutique that is just completely, like, low creativity.
It was a Home Goods. It's
It,
called Olivia's Closet, which is also tragic, but everything in that store was something. It was just like s a small Home Goods.
stemless wine goblets with pumpkins, sweatshirts with pumpkins. I
Signs that say, like, "Family," and,
yeah,
like,
I you're right. It was
what is Olivia's Closet? Clean it
fuck,
out. It's
dude.
bad.
Yeah.
I just
Um,
wrote sad. Gina's
yeah.
makeup looks insane. Her eyelashes, and in fact, I meant to ask you about this. Did you notice that? Because it looked like she had shadow at her
Her
inner
eyelashes
eyes
were
that made her eyes look crossed, and her brows looked like thick and like she just looked insane on camera
It
in this
was
scene.
it was yeah, there was a lot going on. Those lashes wouldn't have been my choice for a daytime look I think
It
she
looked
was
like a
wearing, like,
filter, like a
leggings.
TikTok
It was
filter.
really yeah, and no, I did notice her eyebrows, or her eyelashes. I absolutely did. I
Yeah.
absolutely did. Do you have anything else to add about that?
No, this was just
Okay.
them trying to sell themselves as, like, businesswomen as we come off the scene with Mark Cuban.
Oh
I
my
was like,
god. Oh
"Ladies,
my
ladies,
god, you're right.
ladies."
And then the next scene, again, we'll hit on this for maybe 30 seconds because the next scene we have Jen, Tamara, and Heather are at a place called Box House doing a boxing workout with an instructor that literally could give less than two shits about these ladies and what they have to say. He's seen it all. He's done it all. It's dialed in. Do the workout. Get the fuck out of my place.
He literally gave a "that's what she said" at some
Yeah.
point along the way. I was like, "Oh."
Yeah. It
I
was.
just wrote, "Okay."
And the only thing I wrote down was, again, Heather's cluelessness. They ask her how she's doing, and she says, I'm crazy. We're in escrow for the pied a terre up in LA. And again, the women are like, what's a pied a terre, you know? And my whole point was, where the fuck have you been? Like, where the fuck have you been for the last 3 years and then all the years before that, but especially the last 3 years? I know we're talking about housewives, but like even talking in front of Tamara and Jen, who I don't believe have the same level of wealth that Terry and Heather have. Heather and Terry's wealth it's extreme. It's on one side. Like they are 1% of the 1%. So, like, to say crazy that you're in escrow when people are losing their houses, the rent moratorium just ended in Los Angeles from what I heard. And it's like, shut the fuck up about being crazy because you're in escrow. Oh, I could just cry from rage right now. I'm not even fucking kidding.
No, she really is infuriating, and I got to that point in the scene with her and Terry later when, again,
Oh my
we
god.
slam
Oh
escrow
my
papers on the table. I'm
god.
like, "We get it," and then they're like, "Can you believe it?" And then we sold our house at just, like, a pocket listing and, for 65 mil, 65 mil. It's just like
Yeah,
the amount of money that you guys just it just is so they're just gross. I don't root for them in any
I don't
way. I
either.
really hate them.
I feel sorry for their two youngest kids that are still
Me
home.
too.
And
They don't care about them.
I just no, as I don't yeah, I can get to that if we have time later about the never before scenes with
Yeah.
Heather giving driving instructions to one of her youngest, and it was not oh fucking K at all. Anyway, so then we moved to Shemley. Shemley. I guess
Shemley.
we could call them Shemley, right? Shane and
Yeah.
Emily are at dinner. Shane and his fucking Diet Cokes.
Oh,
Because,
he's just
yeah.
my
Okay.
nightmare.
No, please go on.
He just
Yes.
starts off complaining. The table's wobbly. It's like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
And then, you look like you have your act together. I didn't say you did. And like, oh, you're a drunk. Here's a
Yeah,
split
dude.
of, she's having a split of champagne, you fucking
God.
lame-o. And then she's like, he's so funny. We've been together for 14 years because he's hilarious. I'm like, that seemed like the worst date ever. It just seemed like, ugh, that was my thought in all of these couple scenes was like joyless on joyless on joyless. There's just nothing there that feels like love or energy or I don't know. It just seems like people. But again, that's Orange County. It's just I feel like that's life there. So you just kind of like grind it out and try to look good.
I had a different perspective on it.
Okay.
I think that when they went back to revisit, like, talking about, like, what happened at the pumpkin patch, I did not wanna go back there because my own feelings from the actual pumpkin patch visit were still a little visceral in my body and in my mind, and I was like, "Oh god, I don't want this again. I watched this show to, like, escape." And it was fine. I was, like, watching it on the surface, but it did seem like I think that when Shane said, "Are you finished?" I think he was actually checking to see if she was finished. I don't think he was saying it to cut her off. Josh and I have to do that a lot, because we have gotten very good at letting the other person speak and actually taking in what they're saying, not just waiting for the opportunity to get back in with our what we have to add. And so I wonder what was cut out. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. It did feel like it got resolved, and I did feel like he understood it. But again, I could be completely projecting it.
No, and I'm projecting. I'm just so cynical. I was just I wrote, "It's giving yes, dear." I didn't
Ah,
hear him say, like, "I understand what you're saying. I didn't consider your family of origin. I forgot how much more meaning these things must have." Like, nothing, no
yeah,
conversation. He just said, "Are you done?" Let her finish, and then said, "Yeah." I was like, okay,
yeah.
I
I
guess." But
mean,
maybe after 14 years, that's all you need to say. Maybe you do know all that stuff and you have a shorthand now. I don't know.
I'm hoping we just didn't see more of the meat and potatoes, literally, of the not really, of the episode. Ordering
Yeah,
fries at a
no.
Mexican restaurant, though, that was hilarious. Anyway,
The
whatever.
whole
Uh,
Orange
I
County.
I have nothing to say about the next scene, which is Gina doing a mock house showing with Travis, other than what we already talked about with, like, the realtors before, like, showing her the fucking ropes. And
Ugh.
yeah, and
Showing her the rope saying things like, "Make the house appeal to the buyer." It was like,
no shit.
and make sure the house doesn't smell like fresh diarrhea. It's like,
Right.
why are you mentors? You're
Oh my
everyone in the
god.
scene is an idiot. Gina's an idiot. She didn't know the price of the fucking house.
Right. And
Come
this is
on, man.
there are so many people in the Bravoverse, fans, diehard Bravo fans that are like, "Why is Gina on this show still?" I don't even think she serves a purpose anymore with Emily. I know that she and Emily came kind of as a package deal when they first debuted on the show. Now, I think Emily people say that Emily shouldn't be on the show either. I don't really know if I agree with that, but I do agree that Gina does not need to be on the show. I don't think she adds anything at all, and this scene went to show it.
Yeah.
Stop trying to make Gina happen.
Truly. And if the people she's associating with are the Archluettas and they're like really, really jarring looks, yeah, I don't need any more of that.
Yeah, I absolutely don't. Then we move to the last and probably most impactful scene of the episode. Impactful meaning it was just dysfunction on top of dysfunction, on top of dysfunction, on top of alcoholism, on top of it was anyway.
I mean, the
So,
scene opened with everything I need to know about John, where he goes, "This is my dog. He's not trained." And then he just
my
walked away
god,
and let the dog like jump all over
my
his guests. I'm
god,
like, oh my
my
God,
god.
dude, like either put it on a leash or put it away, or like don't just say like he's not trained, fuck off. And then he just like sauntered away. I was like, that's not fine. Don't have people over if you can't.
I
I
agree, Margie. I feel like it speaks volumes when it just solidified that he is an alcoholic
a
deep into his
hundred.
cups because it takes a lot of sustained, consistent effort to raise and train a dog. And he's clearly not interested. His name is Banks and he wears a red bandana and he's a fucking Doberman living in a 5 by 5 inch seaside marina bachelor pad.
He's an
Listen,
untrained
he's
Doberman
an
meeting unfamiliar
untrained
guests, jumping
Doberman,
on
right?
men. Like I don't I my dog is like a tiny nothing burger, but I never when new people come around, especially whatever, she's never off a leash like until I know that everybody is comfortable, the dog and the human. You just they're animals. You can't just like I don't know. John, I just feel like he has one lawsuit waiting to happen, whether it's the dog or the boat or like something's going to go left with this dude. And
Oh my
I'm
god.
here for it.
So, yes, we're at John's house. Shannon and John are preparing to welcome Jen and Ryan and Tamara and Eddie to go for a little jaunt on John's sailboat. And while Shannon and John are waiting for everyone to arrive, they're sitting on the patio, sipping their respective alcoholic beverages on opposite sides of a couch. Shannon looks like she's just been yelled at by a mean parent, and
She looks
John,
like a kicked dog.
she
The
does look
dog's
like a
bouncing
kicked dog.
around,
You're
and
right.
Shannon looks like yeah.
And John is just sitting there, and he could not be less interested in how the lunch went with everyone. And Shannon can't say anything, but because she doesn't want to implicate the fact that she doesn't want to implicate herself in the fact that she shared that with a quote unquote friend, that her relationship isn't going well, or that they had some problems, and that she was betrayed. And she knows that if that betrayal comes out, that John will get upset. And so it was
What did he
so
do?
gross. I don't
What
know,
the
but
fuck did he
I
do?
don't know. They teased it again on Watch What Happens Live last night, and I don't know because I haven't really heard anything. And I
Me neither,
usually,
which is even creepier.
yeah,
That means, like, if it's covered up this bad, like, did he hit her?
I
Like,
don't
what
know. I don't
happened?
know.
And if they're alcoholics, like, I wouldn't put it past them, but for her to be this freaked out and for this to not have gotten out at all. I mean, we heard this week that Shannon got kicked out of a restaurant for
Yeah,
screaming at his daughter.
yeah,
So information gets out.
yep,
So whatever this secret is dark, I'm
yeah,
assuming.
yeah. Oh God, there but for the grace of God go I, and I will never be in a relationship with an alcoholic ever again. My husband is not an alcoholic. I I guess I have alcoholic family members that are quote unquote in recovery, so I guess I have relationships with them, but I'm in the Al-Anon subreddit on Reddit because I don't know. I'm curious, and people can kind of like share there what's going on, and I see so many posts about people like, I don't know what to do. I can't leave. I love him, but, and if I do feel a wild hair at my ass to reply, I just say, run. It will never get better. I promise you. Don't think
If only it
twice.
were that easy,
I
dude.
know,
Come
I
on.
know, but
Like, that's not
but
fair.
when you're years away from being in a partnership with someone
I was
who's
in
addicted,
Al-Anon when I was
I
dating an
know.
alcoholic. And in Al-Anon, they say you can be happy whether the alcoholic is drinking or not. Your life does not depend on if you are with them or not with them, if they're sober or drunk. Like, that's the Al-Anon program, is like
I know.
pulling the focus off of what do I do about him or her and being like, what do I do about me?
I know, but
And that's the shit that I avoided being in alcoholic relationships with alcoholics. You never have to look at yourself because there is always
oh,
chaos
that makes a
and
lot
a
of
mess to
yeah.
clean up, man.
Oh my
And I
God.
never had to be like, what's going on with you, Margee? It's like
Oh,
my
geez.
business partner was an alcoholic. My boyfriend was an alcoholic drug addict. Like, I was very busy and I never had to, you know, I wasn't ready to look at myself. So I busied myself trying to, you know, solve a problem that everyone is powerless over.
I can understand that. I can understand that. Yeah, and
Anyways,
ah, yeah, okay.
I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah, it's
Off,
humbling. It's a humbling situation. Oh, I see that. I see that.
I just like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard to leave. It is hard to leave. I just feel like once you're gone for a long time and it's in the rearview mirror, for me, I'm like I can't imagine ever having to deal with that or face those kinds of feelings again, but who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I certainly don't intend to or want to,
Mhm.
but Al Anon, it's its own addiction. It's not as overt
You're right.
as like doing a line of cocaine, but like there's a high you get from controlling and a high from being mad and a high from being righteous. And like there's just a lot that I've had to work on unwinding. Like I've
Yeah.
gotten a real good look at like what I was getting out of being in those relationships. I got a chemical experience too. It
Yeah.
just wasn't, I didn't drink whiskey for breakfast, but I sure did look at him and think about his whiskey for breakfast and be like,
Totally.
woof, what are we going to do about that? Has he ever gone a day with it? Like it's
And
crazy.
and there's also that high of when they do act like the person when you first
I
met.
know.
And then you're like,
That's so
"Okay," and it
confusing.
feeds you for a while, and then it starts to go away, and the crumbs get smaller and smaller until they're
So
gone, and you
true.
just want that next chunk of You want that next hunk of a good experience to come, and yeah.
And there's that thing, at least in my experience, when I was getting ready to leave the relationship, they turn it on. Like, for
Yeah.
whatever reason, when they sense that you're
Mhm.
starting to move out, move on, there's like a big push to be the guy that you've been begging them to be
Yeah.
for years. It's very weird.
God damn, man.
Anyways.
Oof, oof, oof. So, yeah, so Shannon's communicating her feelings loud and clear without ever having to open her mouth. It's just written all over her face. And Tamara and Eddie come over. Jen and Ryan arrive. Ryan arrives in a jacket that we learn later on Watch What Happens Live that it was a like either a light blue denim jacket or a white denim jacket that he takes a Sharpie to, and he writes down like not hilarious sayings, but just things he thinks are deep. And then it has a popped leopard collar. I'm all about a
Ugh.
popped leopard collar. I don't give a shit. Like I don't know if I'm going to pop a collar, but I love a leopard. I love a leopard anything. But yeah, the jacket it was a choice. It was a
To
big,
me,
bold choice.
it was representative of like how Ryan operates in the world. He just confuses you and gives you like a lot to look at and makes you really dizzy. So it's like leopard print and I'm reading words and is that denim? And then suddenly your interaction with him is over and you don't know anything about him or what happened.
Yep.
That jacket was, it's an overused word, but it was chaotic.
It was chaotic.
It was so much for the occasion and so wrong also. I don't know. Bizarre.
It was bizarre. After everyone arrives and while they're getting on the boat, the producers cut back to a conversation between Heather Dubrow and her husband Terry in their bathroom / vanity room / whatever. Terry comes in with escrow papers, throws them on the table, and the camera shoots on the logo on the escrow envelope that says Rocket Mortgage. How much did the Dubrows get paid for that? And did the Dubrows get that written into their Bravo contract? You will show this. God damn, dude. Calm
It's just
down.
fucking spawn con across the board. And
100%.
then we go from Rocket Mortgage to Altman Brothers Realtors. Can we just talk about how the Altman
Completely.
Brothers, it's just like, and look how much they got us for our home.
Yep.
The Altman Brothers,
Yep.
Los Angeles Realtors. It was just like,
yep.
Oh my God.
The name dropping. And then Heather wants to move away from their 7-bedroom, 17-bath house.
It's a job she doesn't want anymore.
It's a job
Ramona.
she doesn't want anymore. She has 4 housekeepers and 3 landscapers. Shut all the way fuck off.
Was it in this scene where someone said, like, you want to be in a house where there's more of you than there is staff?
Yes.
And she was like, yes. I was like,
oh, she was all,
so
fuck
hateable.
Yes. Like she could not find a sentence more relatable in the world. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, I'm so glad the producers left that in. I hope she's not getting a kick out of it. I hope she's feeling a little bit grossed out by her actions, like seeing it back.
Never.
You're right.
Did you see the house that they bought here?
I did.
Okay. So there's going to be 15 times as much staff as there was at your other place. That's an estate. What the fuck are you doing? Like, it's not some like modest place where like Heather can cook and Terry will mow the lawn. It's like, no, you're going to need a house manager and a whole staff. The maintenance alone is going to require 10 people. Anyways, just too much.
They're exhausting. She's exhausting.
They really are.
They're so fucking camera conscious. I mean, we know that Terry and Paul Nassif, who is a former Bravo husband from Beverly Hills in the first couple seasons, they star on the show Botched on E, which I can't watch. But so Terry and Heather both know what the fuck they're doing, and they're not good at it.
Terry is never not in scrubs.
Never.
It's like, we get it. You're a doctor. You're at home now, honey. You're in the bathroom drinking wine with your wife and you're still in your fucking scrubs.
Oh my God.
Everything is an ad. It's just an extended infomercial for those two. And why was Heather crying in her confessional when she was talking about like moving? I can't even remember what she was talking about. It was like, it's just going to be Terry and me. The next chapter is like really exciting.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you crying? What is happening?
Yeah. She's crying because she's leaving the house that she quote unquote designed herself. She drew the banister and the fucking ugly ass tree etching. Her house sucks. This is what I'm saying. She does not have any style. She thinks she has
No.
style. She doesn't have style. She has
I guess
money.
she had all the time to do that because she was thwarted from an acting career.
That's what
Like, I
she's
don't
saying,
know.
Margee.
What are we supposed to believe?
She wants to get back to
Stupid.
her. She wants to get back to Heather Page Kent. Oh, God. Just someone throw
Blow
me off a
me.
cliff.
Cut to like 1 month from now, the strike ends, and I'm writing a pilot for Heather Page Kent.
Oh,
I'm
my
like really
God.
proud of it. No, I would not. I mean, I would. I would do anything. I'm a
Yeah.
fucking whore in this industry, but like, I don't. She's not as dynamic as she thinks she is.
She's 100%
That's all I'm
not.
saying. She'd need real good writers, but she
So
can. She can buy me. I'm for sale.
just make sure that, like, I know you'll do this. Like, I know that you would make it so stealthy, like, that she would have to be, like, the shadow parts of herself versus the parts that she wants the world to see. I'd watch a
Or we
show.
could write a whole other character that is Heather Dubrow, and Heather would have no idea because she has no idea who she
Oh
is. So
my
she thinks
God.
she's the star, and she'd be playing opposite a hateful, rich, out of touch, money hungry,
Ooh.
whatever. Anyways, I'll pitch it when the strike's
I
over.
love
We're getting
it. I
closer.
love it. I love it.
And on to Shorebird, another Orange County fucking upscale basic. Is that what you said? Elevated basic?
Luxury basic.
Luxury
Yep.
basic. Another luxury basic locale. Good Lord.
Yeah.
The food that they put down, I was just like, oh no. We were at Nobu a couple weeks ago, and that food is really beautiful. And this was just like plates of chopped up fish.
So much fucking fish and no fucking carbs. Okay, fine,
Yeah.
fine.
Oh, and
Everyone's
Eddie
breath
ordering
must be so bad.
oh,
Yeah.
alcohol and fish.
Yeah.
Barf.
And no carb breath. Yeah.
Oh, and those deviled eggs. Can we talk about like the fucking towering deviled
How
eggs?
are you supposed to eat
Why?
those? You can't put
What?
you I know. Just ridiculous. I got mad because I heard Eddie ordering and he didn't say please, at least on camera. He didn't say please. And I was all, Eddie, please say fucking please.
He
Please
did
say
not say please.
please.
I noted that too. I hated what he ordered because it was like fish, 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 no carbs. And then he did not say please. And his tone was really
His
shitty
tone
too.
was shit.
Just be nice. Look at the human being who's writing down your annoying ass order.
Oh my God. Okay. So
Dude.
my friend Lee and I, she found this meme on Twitter years ago talking about like people being waiter ambassadors. Like if Lee and I are out, I'm sure this happens with you and I too. If Lee and I are out, we want our server to know we respect what they're doing. We respect them as a person. We are not there to cause problems. So, like, they come over and they're saying, "Hi, how are you guys doing today?" "We're doing great, thank you. How are you doing?" You know, I've made jokes. We just try so hard to make sure that they know that we value their time and their services to the point where we probably look a little bit like nutty. But it makes me laugh and it makes her laugh. And we're never going to stop because there is nothing wrong. Only good can happen from being kind to other people.
I
That,
mean,
yeah.
when I was a waitress, I would always pick a kind person who leaves 10% to a fucking asshole who leaves 50%. It's just
Mm.
like at a certain point, the dehumanization is so painful. It's just
Yeah,
amazing. And I
dude.
think I got a whiff of that from Eddie, where I was like, he was so dismissive and rude, and that attitude of the help, I have a real problem with.
I find it abhorrent. I have to
Yeah.
restrain myself at a coffee bar or wherever you order from a counter if the person in front of me or behind me doesn't say please or thank you. You know,
I mean,
I
it's been like my platform of a lifetime is I think every human being, especially in America, should work as a waitress for at least 3 months,
yep,
waiter or waitress, or in the service industry in some way, shape, or form.
yep.
You will not behave in a shitty
Nope.
way.
Nope.
You will not grab my arm and scream butter
Oh my
if you've
God.
had to be in that position
Oh,
before. Like,
oh
it's
my
just
God.
not, yeah. So I don't know. But again, you don't even have to have been if you're just a decent human being, the problem is not everyone is a decent human being, so it would help to train that into them. But like, yeah, all for anyone who's interested, just like make eye contact, be polite, and leave a nice tip.
That's
That's
it.
it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's
Okay.
it.
Just kidding. Just kidding. TM Ronnie Karam on that one. So I found it interesting that so they get their disgusting food. They're all ready to like, okay, finally, we all have our drinks, we have our food. Let's get into the meat and potatoes of this, which is going to be everyone confronting Ryan, but under the guise of wanting everyone to kind of like smooth the waters or I don't know, like
Under
sort
the
it
guise
out.
of championing Jen. Everyone's like,
Yeah,
"You're great. You're fucking
you're
great."
right. You're
And
right.
this guy, it's like, is everyone I don't know. Is she great? Because to me, it sure sounds like she left her marriage because she was cheating with this guy. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying anyone's bad. I'm just saying, like, let's not make Jen into some, I don't know, some princess when
Yeah.
everyone's human and everyone's gross.
No, totally.
Ryan
Totally.
maybe more so, but like we don't need to do this in terms of like let's protect darling Jen.
Oh my God. And then what another thing about Eddie that pissed me off last night was that when they were oh my God, I got to close my eyes to say these words out loud so that I don't mix up housewife names again. When Tamara and Eddie were at John's, Eddie said to Tamara that he is not into Ryan. But then when they're at dinner later at Shorebird over fish and eggs, he says he's making jokes with Ryan that have like sexual innuendos. So he does that weird, I don't know if this is like a man thing or maybe Tamara does it too. No, obviously Tamara does it too, but it just looks different when Eddie does it. So they don't like someone, but then they're acting like they do and egging them on. The fact that Eddie was egging Ryan on with sexual innuendos when that's the thing that is at the crux of this toxic relationship and dynamic between Ryan and the and Tamara and Ryan and Jen and Ryan and Heather. I mean,
Well, and
it's
as far
like,
as
God
Eddie's
damn.
concerned, Ryan, if we're to believe everything that's said, Ryan has sexualized Eddie's wife, and Ryan has a reputation of
Yes.
pursuing married women. So
Yes.
for Eddie to be making sex jokes at the
Yes.
table
Thank
with his,
you.
it's like, why are you initiating this behavior that you're claiming you're so offended by? Like the whole thing. And Eddie having a talking head in this episode, I was like, never again. He
Yeah.
is so boring. He's like paste the way
Yeah.
he talks and then his judgy bullshit of like, they're a train wreck. It's none of my business, but it is. It's like, no, not, you're just nothing, you're dumb. And also, as far as I can tell, these are just two people. I'm sorry, but gym culture is such that everybody checks each other out and goes like, hot, fine, gorgeous, I'd fuck her. To me, it was as like low key as that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think that I think Tamara thinks Ryan is hot. I don't think she's going to do anything about it. I think Ryan would fuck Tamara if, you know, the opportunity presented itself, but I don't think anyone's going to make any effort. So
Barf. Barf.
who gives a
Barf.
shit?
And then Ryan denies everything. Ryan denies that he ever said that. Jen does say to Tamara, I mean, you said that he was attractive, and they were all saying exactly what you just said. Exactly what you just said.
It's just
You're
conversation on a
right.
treadmill
Just
to pass the
right,
time.
right, right,
God.
right, right, right. And then Shannon, I don't even remember what made Shannon say this, but all I wrote down is Shannon again says during the course of this dinner, no one knows what goes on behind closed doors. I think at this point, Shannon is saying that to make herself okay with what goes on behind her and John Jansen's closed doors.
I think she's saying it's no one's business because in that confessional look, that appears to be like later in the season when
Mm-hmm.
either she and John are headed to a breakup or have already broken up. So I think, yeah, I'm with you. It sounded like damage control.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't sound like commenting on Jen and Ryan as much as it sounded like, don't peek behind the curtain at my house. It's none of your fucking business.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
Yeah. There was no fun in this episode. It was
No.
all really, it elicited in me a lot, and it sounds like you too, a lot of like very strong reactions in this one. There wasn't a lot of fun.
Like my childhood, I just wanted it to be over. I was like, "Can we be done, please?" And of course, we end on a big lie of Ryan going like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna get engaged, get married, and go to Bermuda." And I was like, "Oh my God, everyone is fucking insane." But like,
Oh my
okay,
God.
we might as well go out on a big lie. Fine.
Did he admit last night to cheating on Jen? I can't remember.
He he said it was no big deal that they were broken
Oh,
up.
that's
And
right.
then in Jen's confessionals, she said, I don't understand how you're talking to me every day and we're trying to work this out and you go and fuck someone else. It did feel like I was cheated on. And I was like, because you were.
'Cause you
Like
were, yeah.
everybody
If
knows.
yeah.
But Ryan has just been doctoring it. And I think everyone was just like too full on deviled eggs to dig any deeper at that
Oh
point.
my
So, and
God.
also, what's the point? He is who he is. Like, there's just, I think Jen, as we've said from the beginning, is fully aware of who she's in bed with and continues to choose it. So,
Well,
okay.
like a meditation teacher once told me, you'll stop doing whatever you're doing when it stops being charming. When
Mhm.
it stops being charming. So,
Yeah.
more will be revealed. And then they end the episode with a preview. They do a mid-season trailer of what we have for the rest of the season. And thankfully, it looks like it's going to ramp up. And it looks like there might be some comeuppance for Heather. And it looks like friendships are shattered. All the things we love from these shows.
It's just I wrote down alarming drinking and Heather calls Emily fat. So I'm like,
Oh
you
my
and me are gonna have
God.
endless shit to talk
Oh
about with
my
these
God.
ladies.
That's right.
It's
Oh,
so vile. But, again, in terms of like proving the point that reality TV and therapy, the Venn diagram overlap is large, Orange County is really doing its work for us. So
it really
thank
is.
you.
It
Thank
really
you, Orange
is.
County.
Thank you, Orange County. Thank you, Bravo.
Hmm.
Um, Thank you, my beautiful friend Margee, for
Thank
talking about it with
you.
me for a flippin' hour and a half.
Oh my
I
God.
know.
Wow, we are really our session time. We're gonna have to,
We're
yeah,
gonna
we're
have to
really doing
double
it.
bill each other. Yes.
There's just so much to talk about. And in time we'll have covered all this stuff, but it
Yes.
just feels like new right now
Yeah, it
and
does.
so raw.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
What else did you watch this week? What other reality TV did you watch this week?
I did watch The Bachelorette this week
Me
because it
too.
was like hometowns where she
Mhm.
went to go see, and it was totally boring and disappointing. I don't know what has happened, but either something has changed in me or something has changed on the show where I just like don't care. And I don't believe anybody. I don't feel any chemistry. I don't know. It just is like, well, this feels like a dead end, whoever she chooses.
I
And I didn't get anything. I was really excited for like the gay dad situation. And it was
yeah.
just like the gay dad was a big non-factor. It was like the butch uncle who we got all the time with. And I was like, ugh, ugh, okay.
I feel like that uncle, I feel like that uncle was projecting some of his unprocessed racism onto his nephew's relationship. I feel that that's why he feels like something is quote unquote off between the two of them. And I felt really validated because I thought that. And then the only Bachelor podcast I can stomach now is Love to See It. And they thought the same thing. And I was so glad.
Wow.
I was so glad
That
they
makes a
talked
lot
about
of
it on that
sense.
episode. Yeah, I was like, I even looked at Josh during that segment. He was scrolling through his like he doesn't give a shit. He's just glad the TV's on. He was on his phone, and then I paused it, and I was like, "This is racism right here. I'm telling you right now."
I will
And
say when in
yeah,
in that man's confessional, when he said, "I can't put my finger on it," and he
yep,
sort of, like, looked askance, I was like, "No, come on, can't be." But
yeah. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm
and I
pretty
wonder
sure it
if
is.
Charity sniffed it out because she did ask Joey, like, "Have you ever been in an
Mm-hmm.
interracial relationship? Are you prepared for, people like your uncle who
Mm-hmm.
are gonna have a problem with it?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe she sensed that his family was
Reality TV
problematic.
mirroring life every single time I walked into a friend's house to meet their parents for the first time or a boyfriend's house to meet their parents for the first time, I always had that thought. I don't even want to say it was in the back of my head. It was in the forefront of my mind. I'm Mexican. I look Mexican. What am I going to walk into? and what are the parents going to think? And thankfully, every single time, except for once, pretty sure that one of my ex-boyfriend's mom would have been a lot happier with him dating a white woman than me. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. But it never was as bad or bad at all as it was in my head, but it was fucking terrifying. And I always code switched. I always was like on my best behavior or trying to present myself or in a way or using my most cultivated Nordstrom voice so that I could, you know, make them feel okay about the fact that their son was dating someone who was half Mexican. Anyway.
So interesting. It's so interesting. Like I learn I just more and more light is shed on like what is white privilege. Like
Mhm.
most of my close friends have been people of color. I haven't looked into that exactly, but it's been my experience. And I never thought when I walked into their homes, I never had a thought about
Mhm.
like how are they gonna I mean, I wanted to be like polite and well liked, but I never gave a thought about my race. And I now wonder slash I don't wonder. I'm sure it was on their mind when they came to my house. I mean, I would warn them about my dad and try to have them come over when he wasn't there.
Oh god.
But like I wonder, I don't
Mhm.
know.
Mhm.
Anyways,
Mhm.
yeah,
Um
thank you for sharing that. It's just
oh,
interesting to
yeah,
think about
it's
like how much little people are managing.
I talked about that, yeah, because Josh was there and I said I paused it and I was like, "I felt like the same when I met your mom." You know? The only reason why I
Wow.
didn't feel like that when he met his sister is because and that's what Josh said. He's like, "Well, my sister's husband is Mexican." And, like, okay, well, maybe he fucking lubed it up for me, so by the time I get there, it won't be a big deal. But I remember, like, was she gonna think I was thin enough for her son? And was she gonna think that I was she gonna be able to get past the fact that I'm Mexican?
Good
Those were what I was
Lord.
thinking. I never thought in a million years, like, am I gonna like my friend's parents? Am I gonna like my boyfriend's parents? It was always, are they gonna like me? What are they gonna think? And like, yeah, he didn't think about it. He didn't think about it at all, you know? Anyway,
I
it
mean,
was
I
just
thought about like, what are they going to like me? But in terms of things that I had some control over, my
right.
behavior, I never had to walk in being like, ooh,
Hi, I've got
sorry
melanin in
for
my
my,
skin. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like it just
Yeah.
like that's such an added, unbelievable stressor. Anyways, but yeah, I do believe yeah, I'm with you. I think that we got to look at that a little bit with Charity's hometown visits.
Jeez. Yeah. Yeah.
What else did you watch?
I watched some more Selling Sunset, and
Great.
I don't even remember because we went out of town for the weekend, and so Leo was sitting like or sleeping in a sofa bed like 5 feet from our bed, and Josh was asleep. So I was just watching Selling Sunset on my phone, and I was a little high, so I don't even remember. It's just such a great thing to have on while I'm doing my New York Times word games, and no, it was a real light reality TV week for me. Just The
Good.
Bachelor
That's
and
great.
some Selling Sunset. Yep. I haven't even watched I have got 3 episodes of New York to watch. I haven't watched anything since the first episode. So 2 or 3
I
episodes, yeah. It's
I
just
haven't either.
I'm
I've
not
listened to
called.
podcasts about the show, but I
Mhm.
haven't watched it.
Mhm.
So
I'm not called. We'll see.
the time will come. But
Yep.
yeah, yeah, not right now.
Yep.
Do you want to check in about highs and lows or any of that stuff? No.
Highs and lows. Lows were parenting style disagreements, and highs were
Hmm.
parenting style disagreements that were worked out. And,
Fantastic.
it's the last week of my son's summer break, so yesterday, he and I took the ferry to the city, and we had a great time walking around and went to, this place for kids, and we both wanted to leave at the same time, thank God, and we had a great time. We both were exhausted and slap happy by the end of the day, and, like, making my child laugh and wanting him and seeing him ask me over and over to make the same joke makes it just was fun. So, it was good, nice chill week. He goes back to school next week, and it's bittersweet. I'll be glad to have some
Amazing.
hours to myself back in the day. So, yeah. How about you?
Um, I mean, I'm sure there were things of more consequence in the week, but yesterday I had the most delicious Thai drunken noodles I've ever had in my life. I love spicy food, and nobody at a restaurant ever believes me when I say I want to sweat and I want to cry and I just want to be wrecked by the heat. And this establishment gave me all of that, and it was amazing. And then on the other side of it, I've never been more sick in my life,
Oh,
but
no.
but it was a whole, I'll take it all the time. It was just like, it's like running a marathon or something. It's like an endurance test, like the
Mhm.
heat. And then I wouldn't trade the whole experience for anything. It was a whole wild ride. And I fucking I just love spicy food. My eyes were watering, my nose was running, I was sweating. It was just fantastic. Thai chilies, like when they leave the seeds in the
Oh,
dish, it
yeah.
is
They're
my
no
dream come
joke.
true.
Well,
So
there's a place I'll take you when you come back up here then that will make you cry.
I can't wait. And
Yeah.
normally it doesn't have to be that bad, but I'd had a day where all I did was like drink caffeine and eat spicy food. And my
Mhm.
body was like, excuse
Oh,
me,
yeah, dude, caffeine and
we're
spicy
middle
food?
aged.
Yeah, dude,
No,
no, you were asking for
I
some
used to be able to do it, but
GI
like,
issues
yeah.
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyways, well, we'll come back around next week for another therapeutic dose because God knows I need it.
I mean, we need a crossing guard at this intersection of therapy and, reality TV at this point with this
We need
show.
like crime scene tape. Like we
Honestly,
need it
yeah,
like
it's
cordoned
this
off so we can deal.
maybe this episode wasn't fun because it was just so triggering to lots of stuff. Anyway, Margie, as usual, I adore the day we get to record this because I get to see you and spend time with you and talk with you.
Same.
Yeah. So, and
What a
everyone,
pleasure.
thank you so much for listening. Again, you can reach us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. In fact, I invite you, if you're out there and you're listening and you find positive things about Heather Dubrow and you actually are a fan of hers, will you please write to us and let us know why? I honestly, I swear to God, I'm curious. I really want to know. So you can email us at atherapeuticdose@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram at A Therapeutic Dose. Please rate, review, and subscribe. It helps us get the podcast out there more, and we just appreciate hearing your feedback. So thank you so much for spending time with Margie and me
Thanks, everybody.
today.
And we'll chat more next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margee are
Obviously.
not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom